The Hollywood Beats take on TV. I'm Tandy Culpepper.
And I'm Lisa Johnsn Mandell.
You're no good, you're no good, you're no good. Baby, you're no good.
We made New York the capital of the world, the center of everything.
Sex, money, and endless adventure.
Hello, ladies. Mind if I sit down?
Oh, I wish you could, but we're being joined in just a second.
We see the importance of presentation. Underneath, though, it's an act. Truman.
Tell me everything.
Here's the fact. Even your sister will steal your man.
I don't know what matters more to him, the sex or you knowing about it.
Wait, go back. We're talking the governor's wildebeest wife, that fat-ankled harridan.
Yes!
You're no good, you're no good.
Only you can show us these women, Truman, how they really are.
Lisa, what's the premise here?
Okay, the official title is Feud, Capote versus the Swans, and it's part of Ryan Murphy's Feud series, which he throws one of these limited series out maybe, once every 3 or 4 years. And they're always about famous people. They're always based on true stories, but with a lot of juicy fiction in there. This one it's called an anthology series for that very reason. And, I think a lot of people might wonder, what's a limited series? What's an anthology series? What's a mini series? Basically, a limited series is what we used to call a mini series. It's one that doesn't go from season to season. There's only one season of it. And if they have the same theme, then it's an anthology series, but it's still got a limited number of episodes each season.
Was True Detective an anthology series?
Yes, absolutely. Great example of one of them. Great example. And American Horror Story is also considered an anthology series.
Never saw that.
Oh boy, it's scary, but it's really well done. Also by Ryan Murphy. This was directed by Gus Van Sant and Max Winkler and Jennifer Lynch, and Gus Van Sant actually got an Emmy nomination for his directing.
Oh.
And it's based on the book Capote's Women, a true story of love, betrayal, and a swan song for an era, written by Lawrence Lerner, who you interviewed, I think, and we can talk about that in a second.
If people go onto the website, thehollywoodbeat.com, and look under books or TV, they'll see my interview with let me call him Larry Lemer, and fascinating. And Ryan Murphy has optioned his book following that about Hitchcock's Blondes. And now he's got one out called Warhol's Muses. He's prolific. But anyway,
Oh my gosh.
so getting back to the premise.
Yeah. This was Truman Capote. He's at the peak of his career. He's just written in True Blood, won all sorts of awards for it, all sorts of
Cold
speaking
Blood.
engagements. In Cold Blood, thank you. Not True Blood, whole different thing. So he's at the peak of his career, and he has cultivated these relationships, really close relationships, full of gossip and intrigue with the famous Swans of Fifth Avenue, and they are the most elite socialites in New York City. This is based on true people. But a self-destructive streak, and we can talk about that later, causes him to destroy those friendships by writing a thinly veiled, fictionalized account of their scandalous and hedonistic lives in the novel, which they kept very buttoned up and far away from the public. So he wrote it in a book called Answered Prayers. Interestingly enough, it never got published, but part of it did get published in Esquire magazine. The Swans went wild, and most of them vowed to ruin his life in revenge. So this is all about their feud.
He bit the hand that fed him.
I don't understand why he did it, but this is an interesting version of it.
The cast is uh, it's some of it's an amazing cast. Naomi
Fantastic.
Watts plays Babe Paley. Callista Flockhart, whom we do not see often, plays Lee Radziwill, who was Jackie Kennedy's younger sister. Diane Lee plays Slim Keith. Tom
Diane
Hollander,
Lane.
I'm sorry.
Diane Lane. She plays Slim Keith.
Thank you,
Yes.
Diane Lane.
Yeah.
I love Diane Lane.
So do I.
Tom Hollander, lest we forget, plays Truman, and he was amazing.
So good.
Molly Ringwald played Joanne Carson, who was one of Johnny Carson's three wives. Anne Woodward is played by Demi Moore, and Treat Williams played William Paley, who was Babe Paley's husband, who ran CBS. And then Jessica Lange plays Capote's mother, Nina, who is seen sort of in flashback
Yeah.
as the ghost of Lily Mae Falk.
I loved it, but I love anything that has to do with that era of time and the New York elite. I just think it's so interesting and so different from what the New York elite is like today.
He threw this thing called the Black and White Ball because he had all this money from the sale of In Cold Blood
And the
and
lectures that came with it
the
and all the
lectures,
appearances. Yeah.
and it was the sensation of all sensations, and each of the swans said to the others, please keep this a secret, but I do think that I'm going to be the honored guest for this. And it was none of them, and it turned out to be Katharine Graham, the publisher of the Washington Post at the time. This is just a delicious, a delicious uh, subject, and one that is so um, enmeshed in American literature. What did you think of the performances?
Oh my gosh, the performances, all of them were spot on. I mean, and you take people like Callista Flockhart, who really, can you ever get past seeing her as Ally McBeal? But you can in this. And the same thing with Demi Moore. She just disappears into her character. You know, there were five acting Emmy nominations that came out of this. And of course, it was Tom Hollander for Best Actor in a limited series. Now, he's not to be confused with Tom Holland. That got people a lot really confused. Spider-Man is not playing Truman
I know it's a
Capote in this.
very
Yeah.
just that last syllable.
Yes, it confused a lot of people. Then you have Naomi Watts, who was up for Best Leading Actress in a limited or anthology series, and Treat Williams, who played her husband. Now,
The late Treat Williams.
this was his last role before he passed away. So there was a lot of emotional and sympathetic feelings that came up as you were watching him play this part of this very powerful man who was very vulnerable in certain ways. And then you had the best supporting actress in a limited or anthology series, and that went to or she didn't win it, but the nomination went to Diane Lane from this cast. All of them just spot on, just amazing. Even if the story weren't so good and juicy and puzzling and fascinating and had such great costumes, which it also won an Emmy for, um, it is something that you would watch just to see these performances, I think.
Gerald Clark, who wrote the Pulitzer Prize winning biography of Harry Truman, also wrote a biography about Capote. And he warned Truman not to publish Cote Bosque because he said you will alienate these people and you will come to regret it. He said, "Oh, they're all too dumb to recognize them." And no, far from it. And Babe Paley never spoke to him again.
Yeah, he just had a penchant for self-destructive in his personal relationships too. He got involved with some pretty bad guys that really treated him strangely. That was
And his long time companion, he alienated so bad. Jack Duffy, I think was his
he was a
name.
good guy too.
Nice
That's
guy,
yeah.
treated him so well, came back faithfully every time. And then finally he said, Truman, I've had it. I've met somebody, and that was the end of that. Do
Yeah,
you
he put
know?
up with a lot of his partner Jack put up with a lot from him. Yeah, he really is a tragic figure. A lot of that we see in this television series. It's really interesting. It's just such an interesting character picture of him.
I
And
thought it was paced perfectly.
yeah,
I thought
me
that
too.
the characters were all compelling. The performances were amazing and understated and bitchy, I gotta say.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, but kind of delightfully bitchy. I think in wrapping it up, I have one question for you.
Go ahead.
Who was your favorite swan?
Oh, uh, Babe Paley. Um,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
As
without
played
a
by
doubt.
Naomi Watts.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So, shall we move on to fight night?
I think it's time to.
Okay, let's play the trailer.
I put together a party for Frank Moulton, the black godfather.
All I ask is that you provide a legitimate living for this family.
This one here is the one that can put me on top, and I feel it for us. I'm thinking Black Vegas, gambling, liquor, women.
You still need to reach out to the council of all the top black bosses across the nation.
Okay. You don't speak chicken?
Atlanta has pushed all their chips in. This will turn our little city into a major one.
Groovy, baby.
Them robbers won't see the next sunrise.
Yeah, Chicken Man robbed me.
They gonna kill me.
They are reckless.
Not to clean my name. Get ready. This here is gonna be a night that we never gonna forget.
So, I'm going to ask you again, Lisa, to give us the premise.
All right. This is Fight Night, the $1 Million Heist, and it's a Peacock crime drama. It's a limited series again, and it's created by Shea Agbana, and it's based on the 2020 podcast of the same name, on his podcast, which I think he's so clever to be able to tell the story like this and then work it into a podcast or into a limited series. It's great. And he sort of fictionalized the true story of an actual armed robbery at an Atlanta party, and it took place on the night of Muhammad Ali's October 1970 comeback fight. That was when, let's see, who was it Jerry Quarry that he was boxing? I think it was.
I think so, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, I would bet on that. And a lot of people bet on Muhammad Ali. They had a lot of money from people that were betting. People also showed up at this party in their finest. And this was a big comeback fight for Muhammad Ali. Everybody had a lot invested in it
After
because
he lost his title because of Vietnam and his refusal to answer his draft card.
yeah, he was a conscientious objector, and so he lost his title and his ability to fight. Well, his permission to fight in
And I
1967.
completely agreed with him at the time.
Did you?
Yes,
I don't remember
completely.
much about
It
that
was a
time.
civil
See,
war.
yeah.
We had no business being over there, and no. And I
So,
was draft bait then.
oh wow. but you didn't get drafted.
My number was 360.
Oh, wow. Lucky you.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband had a very high draft number too, and he didn't have to go. But I guess Muhammad Ali got a little lower one and decided not to go. And as a conscientious objector, he was robbed of his title. And so this was his big comeback after he served his time being outcast from the boxing league. And so anyway, this a lot of people had a lot riding on it. And you know, some thieves come in and hold everybody at gunpoint and go to elaborate efforts to take away their money, and there's a lot behind this.
And many of the people at that party were, shall we say, tough people you don't want to cross.
Yes, in Vegas terms, we can say they were mobbed up.
They were mobbed up,
A lot of
indeed.
them. And the cast, amazing.
Oh, what a cast.
Kevin Hart, he plays
Chicken
Man.
And he actually threw the party, did he not?
Yeah, he did. He was trying to work his way up in the mob that came out of Atlanta, the black mob that came out of Atlanta. And then you have Taraji P. Henson. She's Vivian Sweets Thomas, who is his collaborator on this.
And mistress.
Yes, and a former pole dancer, well, a former exotic dancer, let's call her that.
Yes.
And then you have Don Cheadle, who is the detective that is looking into all this, and he has a reputation for being a quote unquote Uncle Tom. Most of the department is white in Atlanta, and he is trying to make his way and keep his position in that department.
Because back then, this was a sleepy backwater town, and there was a lot riding on the land where the new airport was to be built.
Yes, Atlanta was a sleepy town, and a lot of these characters were trying to make more than that and get their piece of the Atlanta pie, which was baking quickly.
I like that.
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson, he played Frank Black Godfather Moten. He was the mafia kingpin. And then
From New Jersey.
Yes. And he wanted to make his way in Atlanta. And Terrence Howard was one of his right-hand men. He played Cadillac Richie Wheeler.
With that weird permed hairdo.
Oh my gosh, he had the worst hair in this, which made me laugh every time I looked at it. And Kevin Hart, he usually makes you laugh a lot, and he was funny. He was good in this, but this is the first time, one of the first times, well, one of the more prominent times we've gotten to see his dramatic chops.
Yes. Yeah,
and I think
agree.
he was outstanding.
I
just think he was great.
And as you said, this was based on a true event, and it was fictionalized because the language, I was just cracking up. This is supposed to be a mob and with really dangerous characters, and yet it has such a comic through line. And I think that's one thing that people who have not seen this will find so engaging, because we've talked about series having charm to make it where it's not all one note. And while there is an undercurrent of menace that goes from the first episode to the last, there is also this, it's like the icing on a cupcake of charm and humor that goes through all of it. Especially, there's this one character who is so difficult to understand, and they put these subtitles on the screen when he's talking, and the subtitles are indicative of what the technology was at that time. You know, the big yellow subtitles that go
Right.
through there. And the other thing that I thought was so interesting was the frequent and broad use of split screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it made it, well, it was kind of, it had a little of the blaxploitation movie
Yes,
flavor to it,
yes.
which was, and it had little pieces of that, which made it a lot of fun because, of course, that's what was in theaters at the time that this thing was going on. So it was really appropriate. It really immerses you in that time period.
And after this period where Muhammad Ali brought in all of these people to Atlanta, that was the beginning of the burgeoning capital of the New South. And
Yes.
Atlanta has become one of the major international cities, and it may be the busiest airport in the country now.
And I thought the references to it were really interesting. They were saying, we want to see Atlanta with major corporations, and we want to see Atlanta with major film studios, the Hollywood of the South, which of course it has
That
become.
has
And
become.
major corporations, I mean, Coca-Cola, hello, and so many others, Delta, I mean, so many others. And so it was just kind of fun to hear those references back then. It really did become what they'd envisioned.
I loved this thing. It was funny, it was scary, and yet you always knew that in the end, Chicken Man, Kevin Hart's character, would be just fine. I don't think that there was a weak performance at all. And Terrence Howard's character became less and less likable as the storyline went on, and deceitful, I might add. These were all, they were all, what's the word? What's the word? Not stereotypical, but um, iconography. I can't put my finger on what the word is that I'm searching for, but they all filled a niche in what you would expect from almost Shakespearean.
Yeah, yeah, I could go there. I found it a really fun watch. I learned a lot. I mean, reflective of Black culture at the time. I thought it was a very amusing piece. I did think, like with so many limited series, I think it was maybe about 2 episodes too long.
You think?
Oh yeah, I found it dragging after a while. There was a lot of the same thing going on and on and on. But like I said, I feel that about almost everything except for Adolescence, which was only 4 episodes long. So anyway, so yeah, no, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was highly entertaining, informational. I liked the way they portrayed Muhammad Ali too. He was,
Yes.
yeah, he was very interesting. And so anyway, I think it's good. My only lament is that it's on Peacock, and I think Peacock is probably the least watched of all the streamers. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't have those figures for sure. But they don't have a lot of other strong performing. I think it's Love Island is their biggest show. I mean,
Well, perhaps people like us will help to drive more viewers over there. My final thoughts on this, I highly recommend it. It's There's not anything about it that I would criticize. I didn't find it too long. When I see a series like this, I want more, not less.
ah,
I I get invested in the characters, and I was invested in all of these characters. Oh, And a side note, when I lived in Louisville, and if you haven't lived in Louisville, you call it Louisville, Kentucky. I lived on Muhammad Ali Boulevard,
Ooh.
822 East Muhammad Ali. Shoot. East 822 Muhammad Ali Boulevard. And he was quite the hometown hero. Is he still with us?
No, no, he's passed.
He had
I believe.
I want to say Parkinson's, but I think it was from all the blows to the head that he had taken over the years. So I have nothing more to say. You?
I gotta say, I'm handing it to you. You've lived everywhere, man.
I have. I was
You and your family, my goodness.
Journeyman apprentice as a broadcaster and as an army brat. We lived all over the place. So, okay, without further ado, I'm Tandy Culpepper.
And I'm Lisa Johnsn Mandell.
Thank you for joining us here on the Hollywood Beat.